This is the Sunshine Cathedral perspective. Ongoing war deepens LGBTQ divide between Russia and Ukraine. LGBTQ people have played a role in multiple aspects of the Russian-Ukrainian War. After Russia's illegal annexation of Crimea from Ukraine in 2014 and the subsequent creation of two Russian puppet states in eastern Ukraine, the number of homophobic attacks in Russia, including those committed by the government, has significantly increased. Since the start of the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, numerous cases of homophobic violence against LGBTQ Ukrainians by the Russian military have been documented. Russian authorities have also heightened anti-LGBTQ discrimination during the invasion. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, acceptance of LGBTQ people has gradually increased. Since the start of the full-scale Russian invasion, that trend has intensified. The participation of LGBTQ Ukrainians in the military has served as an impetus for this change. The Kyiv International Institute of Sociology has noticed a trend towards positive reception of LGBTQ people in the country in recent years. And that's why we need to keep supporting the Ukraine and working against the Russian government. I think that the U.S. really could follow this example of the Ukraine, but the sad part of it is we tend to be going more towards the Russian government right now. I think we need to pay very close attention as to what Ukraine is doing and what Russia is doing with regard to LGBTQ people.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've read that the gay people are volunteering to fight in Ukraine. I mean, they want their country safe. They want the invader out of their country, and gay people, and that's actually been a really good PR move for them, that people are appreciating gay people because they're shoulder to shoulder fighting with them. There's no silliness about if it's, good for morale or dangerous for the country. No, it's another able-bodied person trying to keep us safe. And so that's actually helped feelings about LGBTQ people. Eastern Europe is, I don't know why, I guess probably old Soviet influence or maybe Eastern Orthodox churches influence, but it's very homophobic. Global Justice Youth, a lot of our work is in Romania and Eastern Europe, and it's difficult. So we know that Russia is a horrible place for LGBTQ people, and we know that they are invaders. They have invaded. They've broken treaties. They have broken promises. They have invaded. They have seized land. They've created little puppet countries within Ukraine. So it's very disconcerting. It's very not the side that we should be. But we have a current administration that loves dictators and autocrats and bullies. He mistakenly believes that is what strength looks like. No, it's just what cruelty looks like. It's just what selfishness and bullying and domination and empire. Yeah, it looks like something, but it looks like anything you would aspire to. And so Russia is wrong in this. Usually, we want to take on a little both-sidism or whatever and have some nuance. No, Russia's wrong. Our sympathies are completely with Ukraine. I like a varieties of vodka. I love all kinds of vodka, but at home, we're only drinking Ukrainian vodka now. Hey, do your little part, do whatever you can. But we drink Ukrainian vodka. And so be praying for them, be voting for people who care about them and who care about democracy and fairness and justice. Because this is a difficult time. This is not a normal time where our country would be cheering for the invaders and the dominators, where our country would be trying to put a hose to put out Lady Liberty's torch, inviting people in, the huddled masses yearning to breathe free. This is an embarrassing time, and it's a time we've had lots of bad times. We've had a lot of embarrassing times of our history, but the thing that followed it was some improvement. And the thing that followed was a slow march toward progress. This is the first time that I'm aware of that we've intentionally gone back, where we fought and fought and fought for some sort of rights, and then took them back. This is a unique time in our history, and a particularly scary one, because you used to be horrible, but you wanted to be better, and you were moving in that direction. Now we got better, and we don't want it, and we're trying to get rid of better and go back to more oppressive ways. And so we need to be careful about Russia, because if we're not careful, we're going to be Russia 2.0. We're going to be Russia West. And I actually believe that that's what some of our leaders aspire to.
Yeah.
You know, the thing that inspires me about this story, we're talking about people who are enlisted in the armed services from the LGBTQ community, is stand in complete contrast as to what is happening in America right now with our service members in the armed forces, where they're being booted out.
Yeah.
Trans people, individual service people are being booted out of the armed services. But yet here's Ukraine, who's fighting and to survive, and gay people are stepping up. I mean, I think there's something to be said about, for me, as a member of our community, is that we are everywhere.
Yeah.
And we're willing, regardless of the oppression we have lived through, still willing to stand up and fight for the country that we love. Not the administration.
Right.
But the country
what
that
it
we
can
love.
be, what it should be.
And that's kind of where I sit. You listen to the stories that are coming out of Ukraine, and you're seeing our community, the queer community, up front and out there. While in this country, you've got the commander-in-chief going up to West Point with his little red cap on, talking about how he's going to get rid of all of the LGBTQ community, especially the trans community, because they are such a detriment to American solidarity. Mr. Heelspurs wouldn't even put on a uniform to help protect this country. And we're supposed to believe that he has our best interest at heart when he starts talking about what he wants to do to our sisters and brothers. No, the Ukrainian people got it right. Their queer community has come out and is fighting for the sanctity of their country against the despot. And all of a sudden, in this country, we're beginning to lean toward that despot more and more and more. Don't think it can't happen here in America. Please don't think it can't happen, because it can. And with this administration, all things negative are possible.
And what is so diabolical is that I would say 2/3 of the country don't agree with it, don't like it. They're embarrassed by it, or they think it's terrible. But one, that a third would think this is all right, is very concerning. But that another third, or actually more, quite a bit more than a third, just are completely like, well, que sera, whatever happens.
Where you be?
They're apathetic, or they're so angry they're like, well, I'm not even going to be part of that system, or whatever their excuse is. But that's how this minority of about 32% versus 31. I mean, it's almost evenly divided of those who care. But then there's this other huge 37% of people who aren't just involved at all, that are completely disengaged. So that means that 32% of this country are calling the shots. And even some of them aren't about it, but they are so invested or so bought or so afraid that they won't rock the boat in that. So really, I'm saying 21% of the country is calling all the shots. And that's not just, that's not democracy. But that's how it is right now. And if we don't step up, if we don't do what we can, that's going to be so codified that it will take generations to undo that, if it can be. The good thing is that empires are always top heavy. They are unsustainable. It will eventually fall into disgrace. But I've never known one to bounce back to be anything relevant in the world after that.
Yeah.
As horrible as Russia is, it ain't the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Napoleon wanted all of Europe. France is not a threat to Europe, right? So the empires come. It took Rome 1,000 years, but year 1001, now Rome is one city for tourists, and for another city within it for the Pope to live. So that's the good news, is that they're top heavy and they implode, they collapse. But that we would even let it get to that is so embarrassing and painful for us. That's not that's not the narrative we were taught.
Yeah.
And so we were to a point where we have to either save the narrative, make it be true, or admit it was never true. So one is going to be difficult and the other is going to be painful. Which way we're going to go?
Yep.
Today is the day to choose. Choose you this day whom you will serve. Somebody said that sometime. And